The fans have been calling for Michael Beale's head. There's been outrage at the lack of consistent performances. We're yet to establish a starting 11, but could this result be the one that turns things around? Tonight's game started off pretty evenly matched. It wasn't played at a blistering pace. They had chances, we had chances, but we still looked a bit flat, a bit void of ideas, especially in the final third at times. However, there were spells and occasions throughout the first 45 minutes where you could see that there was possibly some potential in this Rangers team. First of all, an honourable mention to Matondo and Butland. Both were exceptional tonight. I mean, Rabbi Matondo, to come from no being involved in the squad whatsoever to being completely written off as a Rangers player, and how he's turned things around in such a short period of time is really something to quite marvel at, to be honest. I mean, the guy is relentless. He's relentless with his pace off the ball, on the ball. He must be an absolute nuisance to play against as a right back. And Butland, well, I mean, Butland had big gloves to fill when he stepped into that Rangers goalkeeper position. Tonight proves, and the games previously have proved, that this guy is willing to step up and answer questions when they're being asked to him. It's almost like watching McGregor at times. His ability to stop shots and just be there in the moments where we need him. Although we're a bit short with Danilo being out, with Cantwell being out, with Dowell being out, it's really promising to see Roof back leading that forward line. First of all, Roof is clinical. You seen him actually trying a wee shot there where he noticed the keeper was off his line. If my memory serves me well, he's done that before. I think he chipped the goalie maybe against Braga in the Europa League at some point. I think it was him anyway. But he just does something a bit different. He brings that energy in forward places. He brings that grit and determination to win the ball back. I think when Matondo and Sima are playing alongside Roof, he's an easy guy to turn and look at and go, you know, gives you an extra bit of motivation, spurs you on, whereas I think we've been lacking that in terms of Dessers and Danilo. Maybe they don't feel comfortable enough and confident enough to almost take the game by the scruff of the neck, to step up and realise that it might be on them to take the game to the other team and possibly come up with the winning goal. What I would say, there was plenty in terms of individual performances. There was plenty of positives to take away for tonight's game. A couple of things I would say is that Cifuentes, for me, still has not done enough to earn that position. We need him now. I suppose Jack was on the bench. Maybe it was a bit of a surprise to a lot of the fans that he never started over Cifuentes, because personally, in my opinion, Cifuentes has been left lacking at times, especially in the bigger games. He just looks a bit uncomfortable in the ball, a bit void of creativity at times. It doesn't fill me with confidence when we're going on the counter-attack. Cifuentes gets the ball. There was he made an obvious error at some point. I can't remember if it was the first or second half, but we're breaking away. All he needs to do is open his body up, feed it to Lundstrom in the middle of the park, and we're clearly there for the transition attack down the other side. But he thinks too long on it. He second guesses himself. He doubts himself. Doesn't know whether to go forward or go backwards. Ultimately ends up losing the ball in quite a dangerous area. But for me, there's too much of that with Cifuentes. I don't want to be too critical on him, because it certainly wasn't his worst game, but he's leaving a lot for me to be desired at the moment, to be honest. However, I would say his colleague in the middle of the park, John Lundstrom, is starting to look a bit more like his old self, to be honest with you. I think Lundstrom had another one of the standout performances tonight. He was honestly pretty solid in there. He looked good on the ball, but especially Lundstrom. You know, Lundstrom's playing well when he's doing stuff off the ball, when he's fighting hard to win back possession, when he's flying into tackles. It can be a bit frightening at times, honestly, some of the tackles he flies into. But for me, Lundstrom looks to have improved. I don't know if that just comes with, you know, getting the wheels turning. We're a good few games into the season, or maybe he's realised that, you know, Beale has brought in people that can replace him in the middle of the park, and that probably are, you know, higher up the pecking order than Lundstrom at the moment in time. But for me, it's always good when a player reacts well to that and steps up and tries to show the manager, look, here's what I can do. I'm not just going to accept that I'm, going to be on the bench or that I'm not in the starting 11. I want to step up, I want to show you that I can earn that shirt, and for me, honestly, Lundstrom done that tonight. Let me know in the comments what you think about Lundstrom. Has he improved? Am I seeing it completely different for everybody else? So let me know, Lundstrom, aye or no? Now, I've covered a lot of individuals, but let's get down to the team performance as a whole. I would say it was a bit flat at times in the first half, but we could see, especially from an attacking point of view, which a lot of the fans have been asking for, is what's our identity going forward? Why are we so slow and sluggish and boring to watch? For me, there was spells in the first half where we transitioned from back to front, much quicker than we have been in previous games. So that for me was a positive on the squad as a whole. I would say as well that there was what appeared to be much more energy and intensity on the ball and off the ball. That comes for the fans, it comes for the occasion, it comes for the manager, but ultimately, when the players step out onto the park, it comes for them. It's down to the players. We can say the manager tactically, or he didn't pick the right team, this or that, there's no identity. But, if you played, when you cross that line, it's up to you. I'm not really considering anything what the manager said to me in the past, or how we played the previous game or the previous 5 games for that matter, or whether we lost the Old Firm. Or you're out on the pitch, you've got a job to do, you're in the moment, it's 90 minutes, you must win. And team performance for me tonight was far better. Look, it wasn't amazing. There's definitely things we can do better and improve on, but we asked for a bit of a reaction for the players, and for me, it looked better. That's all I can really say. Again, it wasn't amazing, but the performance was better and we got the result. So that's the two things we're asking for. There's been people asking for just results. There's been people asking for just better performances. I heard someone in the phone in before the game talking about how he would rather see Rangers play well and lose than just win and play this boring style of football that we've become accustomed to over the last couple of weeks. But for me, I want a combination of both, We are a European calibre side. We should be competing for the league title. We should be winning trophies. We should be blowing certain teams away. And we should absolutely be competing with the best in Europe. Or, well, maybe not the best, but the best that the Europa League has to offer. And we should absolutely be competing to win the title in Scotland. I think one thing that we can all take away from maybe our games against St Johnstone or Ross County or even Kilmarnock, going back to that dreaded old day, is that first of all, the fans weren't happy with how the team was playing. Kept hearing about identity. I was tweeting that our identity is just, if you've got the ball, give it to the centre-backs, who gives it to the full-back, who gives it back to the centre-back. And it was a bit of a snooze fest at times, to be quite honest. But I've seen glimpses throughout the season where we can transition quickly, we can play one-touch passing, but there was absolutely no enough of that happening for me. Again, tonight, there was spells of that, and honestly, the second half, we done a lot more of that. I can't really remember sitting the night and going like that, oh, here we go, Goldson's got the ball, it goes to Davis, it goes to... We looked much more direct, and by direct I don't mean we were humping the ball up the park, but that was on at times as well, because when you've got Matondo and you've got Sima and they can both get in behind, there's going to be times where you can play the long switch ball or the long ball down the wing, and it's not just a hit and hope, it's part of your strategy as a whole. You suck the other team out, force them onto press you, and then put the ball in behind. But ultimately, again, on that front, it was better for me tonight. We were looking to be more direct, more positive, and I think positivity in a sense and confidence for the players to handle the ball. Even when we were playing it out for the back the night, there's so many occasions where Jack's dropped him in, he gets the ball after dropping in and just knocks it immediately back to Goldson, or Cantwell, or Raskin, whoever it might be. They just do this wee 1-2 with the centre-back because it's the easy pass. But there was times the night where Cifuentes, Lawrence, Lundstrom, they all went to receive the ball off the centre-back turn. It's maybe a bit, heart in the mouth moment, because first of all, we're not really used to seeing it. Second of all, it's a dangerous place to receive the ball and turn on the ball, because you lose it there, you've lost it in your final third. But they done it. They were willing to step up, take the ball and turn. which then opens up the whole game in front of your midfielders, who are ultimately going to be considered your playmakers. So for me, that was a million times better than again, still no the completed article, but much better than previous games. So in conclusion, to be quite honest, I'm glad that the tune on this channel's starting to change and that I can come into this video and be a bit happier with the performance, especially with the result. That's us. 3 points already in the way to that next Europa League final, perhaps. So how do you feel that tonight's performance went? Was it more like the Rangers you want to see? Is it still no quite tickling your fancy? You seen a bit of a sign of an identity? Here's a question for you. Is Beale the right man for the job? I mean, is it results based? Is it performance based? It's easy to go out winning the Europa League and then forget that everybody was calling for his head a matter of weeks ago. But that's 2 games in the bounce, a win against St Johnstone, a win against Real Betis, 2 very different calibres of opponents. You know, that game we've just watched there, the 3 points against Betis, is no nothing. I mean, they didn't look great, to be honest, but they've got a good manager and they've got some good players. They knew they would have been in for a tough night, but I think that they honestly could have fancied themselves against us. So long may it continue. We need to go into the weekend now and we need to build off of this. We need to take that energy, we need to take that intensity, and we need to take that positivity and directness into the league and then back into Europa League. You know, the squad's already looking a wee bit depleted with some of the injuries, so it's on the players now, the rest of the players who are there, who are fit and able, and who do get the luxury of being named in the squad or in the starting 11. It's up to them to step up now. You know, we never signed them to sit on the bench. We signed them as Rangers players to play off the bench, to start when needed, but most importantly, when the time arises, to get the jersey, to make it their own, and to turn this season, what has been a bad start, to turn it around. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, all the links to our socials are in the description below, so if you want to go over there and check us out on X or TikTok, where you'll get some commentary analysis, different types of videos, short videos, and we'd really appreciate that. So see you next time.